Across Africa, things are changing. The winds of change are sweeping across the continent, bringing with them a renewed sense of purpose and determination. People are saying, "France, get out of Africa." This powerful message echoes through the streets, resonating with millions. This isn't just a saying, it's a big movement. It's a call for justice, equality, and self-determination. People want real freedom to run their own countries. They are tired of external control and yearn for true independence. For many years, France has had too much power in its old colonies. This influence has shaped the political and economic landscapes of these nations. You can see it in their governments, money, and even how people live. The remnants of colonialism are still very much present, but now, people are saying, enough is enough. They are demanding a change, a break from the past. They don't want France to interfere anymore. They want to reclaim their sovereignty and make their own decisions. They don't want France to take advantage of them. The exploitation of resources and people must end. They want to end everything bad that came from when France ruled them. This includes the cultural and social impacts that have lingered for generations. From Abidjan to Ouagadougou, young people are leading the way. Students, activists, artists, and regular people. They are the heartbeat of this movement. They all believe that Africans should decide what happens in Africa. This unity is their strength. This movement isn't about hating France. It's about asserting their right to self-governance. It's about loving Africa, its people, cultures, and everything it can be. It's about celebrating their identity and heritage. It's about taking charge, telling their own stories, and building a future without anyone controlling them. They are ready to write their own destiny. The France Out of Africa movement is more than a protest. It gives people hope. It symbolizes a brighter future. The message is clear. France, it's time to go and let Africans run their own countries. The future belongs to them. To understand why people want France out, we need to look back at when France ruled Africa. This period of history is crucial to understanding the current sentiments and movements against French influence in the continent. For a long time, France, like other European countries, took over parts of Africa. They established colonies, exerting control over vast regions and their people. They wanted the land and resources for themselves. They divided Africa, ignoring the people and cultures that were already there. This division led to significant disruption in the lives of the native populations. They took everything valuable, making themselves rich while leaving Africa poor. The wealth generated from African resources fueled the growth of European economies at the expense of African development. But stealing wasn't the worst thing they did. They also destroyed how African societies worked, dismantling social structures and governance systems that had been in place for centuries. They stopped people from following their traditions and even tried to make them forget who they were. This cultural suppression had long-lasting effects on the identity and heritage of African communities. They replaced African governments with their own, which only helped France. The new systems of governance were designed to benefit the colonizers, not the local populations. The hurt from this time is still felt today. People are angry and feel it's unfair. The legacy of colonialism continues to affect the socio-economic and political landscape of African nations. The France Out of Africa movement wants to fix the problems caused by France's rule. They aim to reclaim their autonomy and address the injustices that have persisted for generations. Even after France stopped directly ruling these countries, they still had power. It's like a different kind of control where they use money and politics instead of soldiers. France still has a lot of say in how the economies of these countries work, often through unfair trade deals and by controlling important businesses. One big example is the CFA franc, the money used by 14 countries in Africa. France controls this money, and some people say this stops these countries from growing and being truly independent. Many people believe France is still secretly controlling the governments of its former colonies. They think France chooses leaders and influences elections. It's like France is pulling the strings behind the scenes. This happens in many ways, from secretly supporting military takeovers to openly pressuring governments to do what France wants. This causes problems, makes people angry, and stops real democracy from working. The France Out of Africa movement wants this to stop. They want African countries to be free to make their own choices, work with other countries they want to, and be in charge of their own futures. The France Out of Africa movement gives people hope, a renewed sense of purpose and direction. It shows that Africa wants to be free from its past, to break the chains of colonialism and forge a new path. People want to control their own futures, so Africa can be everything it can be, a continent of innovation and progress. This isn't just about government and money, it's about reclaiming dignity and self-determination. It's also about remembering who they are, being proud of being African, and celebrating African cultures, traditions, and heritage. It's about changing how people think, not believing they are less than others, and seeing the good, strong things about African cultures, fostering a sense of unity and pride. The movement has already done some good things, like getting French soldiers to leave some countries in West Africa, a significant step towards autonomy. Things are starting to change, with communities rebuilding and new infrastructure projects taking shape. All over Africa, young people are ready to build a better future. A future where Africa tells its own story, a narrative of resilience and hope.